Hello students, let us study English poem 3.4 The Brook, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. The Brook is an example of Tennyson's superb versification. He had a rare capacity for creating music out of simple words. This is a poem that traces the life of a brook or a simple stream as it emerges from the mountain top and flows down the hills and across valleys to empty into the river. On a deeper level, the poet uses the brook to draw a parallel with the life of a man. Like the brook, man is energetic, lively, and moves swiftly when he is young, but slows down later on in life just like the brook does before it empties into the river. Let us see the first stanza. I come from haunts of coot and hern, I make a sudden sally, and sparkle out among the fern to bicker down a valley. By 30 hills I hurry down, or slip between the ridges, by 20 thorps a little town, and half 100 bridges. Till last by Philip's farm I flow, to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on for ever. Tennyson makes the brook narrates its history, the history of its origin, its meandering and uneven journey through forest and hills and open spaces until it joins the brimming river. The brook originates from a source of highlands filled with mountains, forest cover, where the wild birds of coot, a type of duck, and hern are found in plenty. Its rushing waters touch all the ferns that grow on its bank till it reaches the open valley. In initial rushing journey, the brook passes through the slopes of the 30 hills and flows beneath half 100 bridges. Then it touches 20 different villages before reaching a little town. Before joining the main river, the brook passes by Philip's farm. Let us see the second stanza. I chatter over stony ways in little sharps and trebles. I babble into eddying bays. I babble on the pebbles. With many a curve my banks I freight, by many a field and fallow, and many a fairy foreland set with willow, weed and mallow. I chatter as I flow to join the brimming river. For men may go and men may go, but I go on for ever. As the brook comes rushing down the hills, its water produces different musical notes as it dashes against the stony pebbles. The brook makes its presence felt when it passes through the different fields of uncultivated lands where the weeping willows grow. Let us see the third stanza. I wind about and in and out, with here a blossom sailing, and here and there a lusty trout, and here and there a grayling, and here and there a foamy flake upon me as I travel, with many a silvery water brick above the golden gravel, and draw them all along and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on for ever. The brook winds about with immense power, and its cool pleasant water brings all kinds of fresh water, fish to a lively activity. The brook forms the foamy flake and which is accumulated at the shore, where gravels gather in plenty. As it continues to travel down the hills, sometimes it overflows and incurs upon the grassy plots in the lawns. It even overflows to the grounds. Let us see the fourth stanza. I sleep, I slide, I gloom, I glance among my scheming swallows. I make the netted sunbeam dance against my sandy shallows. I murmur under moon and stars in brambly wilderness. I linger by my shingly bars. I loiter round my creases. And outgoing again I curve and flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on for ever. Each morning when the sun rises, the rays and the beams hit the waters and brightly reflect the shiny dance of the active movement of the brook on the sandy banks. When evening sets in and total darkness covers the surroundings of the countryside, the flow of the brook continues to murmur under the light of moon and stars. The effect of the brook on the shores in the daytime is as much as in the night. The poet Tennyson significantly relates the brook to human life. The only difference is that many men are born and died, but the brook never ceases to exist. It continues to flow from its source to the river eternally.